Hi, Storytime friends. It's Miss Nadia from the Carlinville Public Library, and I'm here to share with you a bit about Laura Ingalls Wilder's life back in the olden days. This is a long time ago, but the first thing I need you to do is I'm going to count to 10, and you're going to go find something that you use every single day. You ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ding, 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 ding. If you didn't find anything, just grab the first thing you see and bring it on over here. And we're going to think about it. I grabbed a marker. And I do use them pretty much every day. And let's see, what is it made out of? It's made out of plastic. And let me think, who usually uses a marker? Usually me or children do to write. And that's why I use a marker every day, because I need to write. Think about your object. What is it made out of? Is it made out of plastic? And do you use it for school? Do you use it at home? Do you use it for fun? Do you use it at church? What else do you use it for? Is it for your animals or your livestock? What is it for? Is it food that you use? A lot of those, the things that we see every day, Laura Ingalls Wilder probably wouldn't have seen it and would not have had those type of tools because it wasn't invented yet. Like anything plastic, it was not invented yet. So we're going to look at a few things that she would have used back in her life, and we're going to use this to kind of look at them, because some of them it's going to be kind of difficult to figure out. We might not know what they are, so we'll go through this to kind of try to figure out and get an idea of what it was. And then it also gives us a little idea on what life was like back when Laura Ingalls Wilder and her family traveled by wagon that was pulled by either an oxen or a horse across the plains to find their new land where they eventually had to build their house. So we're going to start by walking through the library and finding these different items on the way. So you come with me. I'm going to carry you with me. And we're going to go this way. And we're going to go that way. And we're going to find my friend Winnie the Pooh. Here's Winnie the Pooh. He is getting ready to eat. And look at his utensils. Look at. It's his knife. It's very different than ours. Usually we have one side that's sharp, and he has two sides. So on this one, I would say it's made of metal. And look at the fork. It only has 3 tines. And normally we have like about 4 or 5 tines on our forks. And guess what? Ours are usually, we can get them in metal, but sometimes we use them when they're plastic. But Laura Ingalls wouldn't have used them because plastic was not invented then. All right, let's move to this one. Let's see. There's Critter, or Critter's sister. She's got a thing that looks like a box. Look at the inside. What on earth is that? And look at it, comes out like so. got a design on it. Looks like it's upside down. And it's wood. And it comes out like that. But it doesn't really have a top. And then over here is this. This is ceramic. This part is wood. And look, you can go up and down. And it moves up and down. And let me move the doll and show you. I'm going to lay her down. And this thing comes up. Sometimes. And look at, and it's made of wood, but it does have some metal nails. And then we're moving on over here. Come with me. We're going this way into the library. And we're looking for, I think Curious George is over here and he has something. Look. Look at what Curious George has. Look. It's rectangular. It has a wooden frame. And it's made of stone. Alright, we're going to go over here. There's another one. Come this way to our stage. Over here. And there's Critter. What does Critter have? It's metal. It's round down here. And it has a long, long handle with a little hook on it. What do you think that is? The kids today thought it might be a pan. But they're right. But it is called a bed warmer. And in the olden days, they put hot coals in the pan. And then they would stick it in their beds to keep them warm at night. And it's called a bed warmer. And then we're going to go back over here. We're going to look at George again. Look what George has. So he has a slate. And it is a lot like, well, it's not exactly a lot like, but it is the shape of our tablets, but different. And this is how the kids would do their homework. They would write on here and solve their math problems, and it's called a slate. And they used a piece of chalk to write on it, and they practiced their addition and their subtraction and their handwriting on the slate. You guys sometimes use a dry erase board, but they didn't have plastic like that. They had to use the stone and chalk. All right, we're coming back this way. We're going to look at what that little doll had again. Maybe you came up with something in mind on what this item is. So, what they did was they put milk in here, and they would move this up and down, and if you didn't notice, if you shake milk long enough, it will turn into butter. And so then they would take the butter out, so it would be a little bit more solid and thick, and then they pour it into this box, and make sure it's nice and cold, and it would make a form. And it would leave this pretty design on the butter. And this is a butter form, and this is a butter churner. Let's go see what Pooh Bear's got. I think you knew what that was to begin with, but we'll look at it again. And there's Pooh Bear. Yes, his knife. And his fork. And yep, that's what they are. Just like you and I would use, except a little different. All right, let's come this way. And we're going to start our story. And it's about Laura Ingalls. And it's called Summertime in the Big Woods. And I want you to think about, before we read, what your summer is like. And I want you to think about your summer and kind of compare it to Miss Laura's. And also kind of look out for anything that we may have looked at earlier, like the butter churner or a slate or anything like that. So this is Summertime in the Big Woods. Okay. Once upon a time, a little girl named Laura lived in the big woods of Wisconsin in a little house made of logs. She lived in the little house with her pa, her ma, her big sister Mary, her little sister Carrie, and their good old bulldog Jack. It was summertime in the big woods, and the whole family was very busy. Pa worked hard all day long in the fields. Laura and Mary helped Ma weed the garden. They helped her feed the calves and the hens. They helped her gather the eggs. Do any of you help weed the garden? If you have a garden, we have one and my kids help. Summer was also the time for visitors. When company came to visit, Ma would do some extra cooking and cleaning, and there would be new children for Laura and Mary to play with. I guess she's climbing in the tree. I used to climb in the tree too when I was a kid, but it's kind of dangerous. Sometimes Ma let Laura and Mary go visiting by themselves. They would walk across the road and up the hill to visit Mrs. Peterson. Mrs. Peterson's house was always very neat because she had no little girls to muss it up. She always gave Laura and Mary a cookie when they left, and they nibbled the cookies very slowly while they walked home. Do you see anything that looks familiar? I see a butter churner, just like I have here, except it's a lot bigger. Laura nibbled away exactly half of her cookie, and Mary nibbled away exactly half of her cookie. They saved the other halves to give to baby Carrie when they got home. When the summer grass was tall and thick in the woods and the cows were giving plenty of milk, that was the time for Ma to make cheese. Laura and Mary were always there when Ma made the cheese, helping all they could. They loved to eat bits of the cheese curd. It squeaked in their teeth. I imagine the cheese curds to be kind of like cottage cheese. If you've ever had cottage cheese, and it kind of is squeaky on your teeth. One day, Pa came home at noon with a surprise. He had found a bee tree. The wagon was filled with buckets and pails, all heaping full of dripping golden honeycomb. For dinner, they all had as much of the delicious honey as they could eat, and Pa told them about the bee tree. He told them that the whole tree was hollow and filled from top to bottom with honey. Laura felt sorry for the bees, but Pa told her there was lots of honey left for them. After dinner, Ma washed the dishes and Laura and Mary helped. The dishes made little cheerful sounds as Laura and Mary wiped them. The windows were wide open to the warm summer night. Do you ever help with chores? Like washing dishes or making cupcakes or cookies? We like to do that at our house. Oh, do you see any things that they would use every day that's different from us? Look, they have to cook all their meals on this stove. Our stoves are a lot easier to use. Plus, we could also use microwaves. They didn't have microwaves, but they had to use this. It takes a little longer. Soon Laura and Mary were tucked in their beds, listening to Pa whistling softly to himself. It had been another happy summer day in the little house in the big woods. And look at, they have their window open. These days, we don't usually open our windows because we have air conditioning, don't we? So we don't need to have the windows open. But they do. That's how they stay cool. Look at, they even have lightning bugs like we do. And that's the end of the story. I hope you like that story. I encourage you to read the real one, the Little House on the Prairie novel. It has a lot more details, but this is pretty good too. So if you get a chance, it might be fun to do a little writing, just like Laura. Laura was encouraged by her daughter to write about her life. Her daughter knew that it was kind of a unique way to grow up by not having a home and having to drive across a lot of land to find a place to build a house, and living way out where there's no grocery stores, and you have to provide for yourself and hunt and things like that. So, but Laura, living through it, she didn't think it was a big deal, but it is now to us in the future, because we wanted to learn about that time. And these books are a good way to learn about that time and what it would be like. So I encourage you, even if you think it's not, if you think it's just kind of boring or your own life, I encourage you to go ahead and write about it. And just think about it and write about it, because someday in the future, some little boy or girl is going to want to know what your life was like. So I encourage you to write about it. So you may want to start little by just writing about your favorite thing. And I encourage you to do that and write a few details about that one thing that you use every single day. Because someday some little boy or girl is going to want to know what it was like to be you in this time. So I encourage you to write either about something that you like a lot, or write about a summer, one of your favorite summers, what kind of things you did. And then it'd be great if you shared it with me and emailed it. But you need to ask Mom and Dad first. Okay, so now we're down to the craft. You ready? All right, so this is what I did. Back in the olden days, they had to make a lot of things. So I'm going to show you how to make a placemat, but it's a woven one. So what I did was this side. I took a piece of paper and I folded it like that. Some people call it, is it the hamburger way? I'm not sure. I can't remember. Some teachers say hamburger, some and hot dog. But anyway, I fold it in half. And then I folded it again. And you see I've got these folds right here. And then all I literally did was just cut, and then I stop. I cut, and then I stop. I cut, and then I stop. Cut, and then I stop. And I kind of spaced it out evenly. So I just went straight. And then you unfold it. And then you take your other piece of paper. And I just folded that piece of paper, my second piece of paper, I folded like this, and I just kept folding it like this until it was really skinny, and then I just cut one cut. But my scissors are very strong, so you may want to have mom or dad help you with that part. So, all right, so I took my strips, and I'll pull these out for you. And I'm gonna start at the bottom, but you can go from the top. I'm gonna go over this one, under the next one, over this one, under, and then this one I'm gonna go over, and then I'm gonna go under this guy, over, under, and over. And then I got them in there. And then I just kind of slide them over. And I can glue. I put a little glue underneath this part and this part. And then I put the next one. And guess what? It's got to go a little different. It's going to go under. See, he's going under. Over. And then under this one. And then over. And under. Let me lay it down real quick. And then over and under and over and under. And there you go. So it looks like that. Look, it looks kind of crazy, but then I just pull it over. And there you go. And then the next one you're going to go over. So I'll take this one, and I'm gonna go over, under, over, under, come here you, under, over, under, over, under, and over, right there. And there you go. And that's just half of it. Now you just got to do it 3 more times on the other side. The next one would be, whoops, look it. That's okay. I can fix it. Boom. There you go. Fixed. Easy peasy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, is that what people say? And this is my finished one. Well, that's it. Thanks, guys, for clicking on and checking out Laura Ingalls Wilder. And I'm going to do another one next week, another book from Laura Ingalls. And that's about it. I hope you do try to write something and share it. So this is Nadia from the Carlinville Public Library. We're at www.carlinvillelibrary.org. You can email me at mail@carlinvillelibrary.org. It's right there. All right. Thank you. Bye.